Hello, travelers. Welcome to the Copper Fox Inn. Come on in, take a seat, and join us as we discuss homebrew for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. My name is Thomas the Human Bard, and I am joined today by...
Onog the half-orc barbarian.
Barbarian. You know, barbarians, no, who needs them? We all have them.
Hey!
They're just like us, right? That's the Joffrey way. Barbarians...
Yeah, that's explicitly. We are also a character class you could choose. What are you talking about?
No, I think that here's my pitch for this episode. What?
Don't make me mad.
Who needs barbarians? What if they were just fighters?
What?
Why
if, then that would be...
Also, what if all casters were one class? And also, what if being an elf or like a dwarf was a class instead of a race?
We're doing... You're telling jokes. I see.
Yeah, I'm pretty funny, Onog. On today's episode...
I mean, who would ever design a game like that? That sounds absurd.
It'll never last. On today's episode, we're discussing another subclass from Steinhardt's Guide to the Eldritch Hunt, a Kickstarter campaign that I personally backed because I thought it looked cool, by Monkey DM, and it is an expansion or an option of subclasses, character races, an entire world building element to it with quests and maps and all that. Expansion for D&D 5th edition.
They got quests?
Oh, they got quests. Multiple levels of quests for multiple tiers of party. They got high-level quests for, high-end parties. They got low-level quests for your first go-around. But it is highly based on and influenced by the Dark Souls and Bloodborne games by From Software. Heavily influenced by them in the art style, in the aesthetics, in the world building. It is a dark fantasy, gothic horror mashup where you're in a big gothic city and there's, the normal stuff you might expect. There's werewolves and there's vampires and zombies, but also there's some tentacly madness lurking under the surface, and turns out it was elder beings all along. You hate to see it.
You gotta watch out for those tentacles.
Yeah, every time.
They'll get everywhere.
So I asked Onog, I told Onog all of the names of the subclasses in the material. And I said...
And I definitely didn't immediately stop reading after the first one.
After the first. I said, which of these sounds the most interesting to you? And he got 4 words in, and he went, woo.
Woo.
How about this first one? Last time we covered this topic, we covered the Osteomancer Wizard, the Bone Wizard.
Yes.
But on this episode, we will be discussing the Barbarian Path of the Earthbreaker. This is a subclass obviously inspired somewhat by elements of Elden Ring with the gravitational magics. With figures like General Radon and Horolu, who are these kind of barbarian warriors whose punches can level cities and things like that because of their mastery of gravitational magic and also just their martial prowess. Yeah, I'll open us up with the flavor here. So I'll put on some mood music. In a time long past, the power to command gravity was stolen and disseminated through the destitute underbelly of Liarna, much like the mythical theft of fire from the heavens. Within the ranks of the Forsaken, many have embraced the spatial magic as a tool of mass destruction, unleashing it upon beasts and mortals with a ruthlessness particular to those who have nothing to lose. Among them, the Earthbreakers stand Imperious, barbarians with a natural affinity for the void, capable of leveling buildings in their rage. These living titans are coveted prizes. Many factions seek to bend their wills for their own ends, and if such control proves impossible, death is an all too frequent outcome. Whether from innate talent, intense training, or cursed rituals, all Earthbreakers share the same path of destruction, crushing their foes and grinding them to dust. Earthbreakers thrive in the middle of the battlefield, where they break their enemies, drag their face on the pavement, and leave behind naught but a mess of blood and brain. It is pointless to hide from them, for they are capable of shattering the very foundations of the world to unearth their quarry. The power to reshape the world, to bend and break it at a whim, is one many desire, yet few master like Earthbreakers do.
All right.
They do big punches.
And they
It could have just
smash
been
and
one
crush.
sentence that said big punches.
Big
Just
punches.
two words. I mean, we can keep it simple here.
Maybe an addendum of crackling knuckles.
Big punches, asterisk, knuckle cracking audio is heard. Overwhelming power. Starting at 3rd level, you have learned to channel destructive energy through your fists and other body parts. Which ones? I'll never tell.
I'll never tell.
When you hit with an unarmed strike, you can deal bludgeoning damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength modifier, instead of the bludgeoning damage normal for an unarmed strike. This die increases to 1d8 at 6th level, 1d10 at 10th level, and 1d12 at 14th level. When you make an unarmed strike against a creature on your turn, you can use a bonus action to make another unarmed strike against the same creature.
Man, rest in peace, Tavern Brawler. It was good while we knew you.
Rest in peace, the monk class.
Good. Rest in peace, the monks. Yeah, also. But my heart is more hurt by Tavern Brawler. But, I mean, it needs to get updated anyway, so...
Oh, I'm sure it will eventually. There's also a series of new and interesting feats in this resource as well, so unique ones for the setting. Your sheer power puts a massive strain on most weapons, shattering them. When you hit with a melee attack with a non-magical weapon, the weapon breaks in your hand and can't be used to make attacks until it is repaired. In addition, the range of thrown weapons is doubled for you. When you hit with a ranged attack with a thrown weapon, you can use the damage dice above in place of the weapon's usual damage dice. So the unarmed strike dice instead.
That's nice. That's neat. I don't know how often, especially at higher levels, someone will be attacking without a magical weapon, but that's like a neat, like, early game caveat of it's like, no, I am the punch. I punch.
I am the punchman.
It's like, you'd be doing more damage with a claymore, and it's like, well, like once.
Which I enjoy. It does.
I do like it. Yeah.
It forces you out of the classic, well, sure, all this tends me towards one thing, but I'm just going to stick with what I know and use a greatsword just because it's always maybe the best option.
It doesn't explicitly say, like, you can't use bigger weapons, but it does kind of... it puts the kitty bumpers up and says, like, no, like, you're gonna do what the subclass is designed for.
Yeah. But it also gives you some interesting options where you might be able to, I don't know, as an action, take an enemy's weapon through some sort of contest,
break their weapon over
and then
their
shatter
head.
their weapon. Yeah, which is kind of fun. I like that a lot.
I do love. I love the visualness of, like, just breaking the weapons, just absolutely destroying them.
Just they're unable to hold back. It's the classic, like, Superman trying to shake someone's hand situation of, like, trying their very best not to crush the weapon in their hands while holding it. The next ability, Gravitational Rage, starts us off into kind of the core thesis of the class here. At 3rd level, once per turn, when you deal damage to a creature with an unarmed strike, you can choose one of the following effects. These effects use your Earthbreaker save DC. So you get a unique DC here. Earthbreaker save is 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your strength modifier.
We're casting spells with our strength. Let's go.
Yeah, strength-based spells. Here we go, boys. Burying Hands. So just without reading any further on, what would you guess the Burying Hands ability does?
So my initial my instinct tells me that it's like a Donkey Kong side smash kind of a vibe where he punches you so hard you get buried in the earth.
That is exactly what it is.
Okay, the horror enthusiast in me immediately went, you summon hands out of the ground and they steal the man into the earth.
My first thought was when you punch, your hands go into the person.
It was like you can now pierce through people with
I don't know. I feel like
punches.
that's pretty strong for 3rd level.
It would be quite strong.
It's like
But
you
no,
just immediately kill them. It's fine.
it
Don't
is
worry
in
about
fact a Donkey Kong side smash. The target must succeed on a strength saving throw or have its speed reduced to 0 until the start of your next turn, as you partially bury it in the ground. If the target fails the saving throw by 5 or more, it is also knocked prone. If the target isn't on the ground when it fails the save, it immediately falls instead, even if it can hover.
it. So you
You can knock people out of the air.
You can leap up and just meteor smash someone right down.
Try plunging attack. I like the vibe. I like the flavor. I'm always hesitant with, like, it's obvious great design space for homebrew. I'm always hesitant with the if a saving throw exceeds a certain amount, like the math, adding more math to things is always like, I get worried about it because I'm like, how many times am I going to remember that or want to check the math about it? But it's still cool. I even without that, even if it didn't knock them prone,
cool.
it's still fun.
And honestly, it's one of those things where it's like we keep seeing stuff like this kind of show up in homebrew because, at least for 5th edition, Wizards of the Coast's design philosophy was about removing that math. So everything just kind of becomes hyper simplified. And so I feel like stuff like this is like, adding a little, like a slight more amount of nuance that like can give people a more wider variety of reactions to things, as opposed to just, did it work or did it not work? Okay, cool, bye.
And remember, this is a once per turn when you've dealt damage with an unarmed strike.
So this can happen every turn.
Every turn. You can
every
pick
turn you hurt someone. Okay.
Yeah. You can pick a new target, or you can do the same target over and over again, just keeping them buried in the ground if they keep.
But each
failing to
ability
save.
can only be used once. Okay, good.
Yes. Every turn, no matter how many attacks you have, you get one of these per turn.
Oh, and only one of them. You don't get either or. It's like once per turn, you choose one of these.
You choose
one.
Yes.
Okay,
correct,
cool.
But the second one is Bulldozing Punch. You push the target 10 feet away from you or upward, which is technically still away from you, but I appreciate the clarification because sometimes people do question about it, so I appreciate it. If pushed into an obstacle or another creature, the target takes bludgeoning damage equal to your strength modifier minimum of 1. Creatures with a strength score equal to or greater than yours can make a strength saving throw to resist the effect, avoiding it on a success. If you push the target upward, it can make a DC 10 dexterity saving throw, avoiding any fall damage on a success.
Interesting that it's always a set DC. I guess because if it's 10 feet, but I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's fun. It can knock people up, knock people over.
This is a great concept. It's a tiny bit finicky with having to check which... and what was their strength score? And now I have to wait. Was it a strength check or a dex check about which way I did it in? And, but
it does. It feels a little
cool.
bit. Yeah, it feels a little bit like Way of the Open Hand for the monk, where it's like they just get a push and they can just when they're flurrying of blows, and this feels like putting a hat on that a little bit, but. I do like it. It feels good, but it's a little clunky.
I think I might have preferred, and I don't know where this falls on the power scale of like, is this too good to happen? Yada yada. But for the concept of bulldozing punch, I immediately pictured there's a very very specific shot in Zack Snyder's Man of Steel Superman film, where Superman punches General Zod and he flies away, and then Superman like super fast flies up to hit him again while he's still flying away. And I thought of it like when you hit someone, you push them 10 feet away from you, you can then move up to 10 feet towards them without expending movement, without triggering. Like you can like, knock someone away, but also get up and hit them again real fast.
Yeah.
And so you could slowly push someone all the way out of the battlefield by doing that repeatedly or something. I think that would be kind of a fun twist on it.
That is something that's I think that's very interesting. That is also something that once again Wizards of the Coast has kind of tried to avoid. They seem to be trying to avoid anything but movement, using your movement, unless it's like specifically a spell or an ability that moves you and only you. because that would be fun. Because one of the downsides of having like all these barbarians with all these strength push attacks and things like that is they don't want them far away.
You don't want to make them go away from you. Yeah,
you want them next to you. That's what the barbarian wants. So
you might want to make them be away from something else, but you want them to stay close to you.
But I do like the idea of just kind of like this barreling punch moving through the motion and stuff like that. But I do like these rules so far. It's just interesting.
Yeah. On the next page here, can you give me a dramatic reading on the top right of the second page? We've got a quote, an in-universe. This is probably, in the Dark Souls style, you find this on like a piece of armor or something like that this barbarian might wear, like a loincloth or something.
Nobles have their honor. Hunters have their courage. Priests have their faith. But all we have is rage.
How
was that?
Doom 2016 music begins. Yeah, it's a good quote. I actually like that one a lot.
That's pretty nice.
The flavor of this whole expansion is incredible. The entire source book is very good. Ruination, starting at 6th level. The strength you wield is capable of toppling the arcane rules of the world. I think you're going to be interested in this one, Onog. Mm-hmm. Your unarmed strikes count as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity.
A legal requirement at this point.
In addition, when you hit a physical barrier created by a spell with an unarmed strike, such as the effect of Wall of Force or Force Cage or any other wall spell, such as Wall of Fire, Gravity Wall, Prismatic Wall.
Some of these aren't really walls.
but they are a wall spell.
But they say the word wall.
Wall of Earth, I think, or Wall of Stone, one of them. Mm-hmm. You can make a strength check. DC is equal to 10 plus the spell's level.
Okay.
Rupturing the arcane and dispelling the spell on a success.
Okay.
You can head up to the Wall of Force and you can say, I didn't hear no bell.
Look. I like that on principle. I might be a bit overcooked. I might be a bit too strong.
Hey man, you gotta pass the check. I mean,
yeah, you do have to pass a check, but especially if it's just a strength check, and that's the thing you're investing in. Like, I don't know how I feel about it's badass.
It is very.
It's cool. Badass for a barbarian trapped in a force cage. When even like a Tarrasque can't get out, and he just goes bump and punches through it, and it shatters around them. That's so badass. As a DM, I'm like, no, don't do. No, that's not allowed. You can't do that.
I think it would be very interesting because with Wall of Fire, I feel like that makes some sense because to punch it, you have to be standing next to it, which Wall of Fire will be damaging.
Give you damage. Yeah.
So there is a sort of trade-off of like, what I'm going to do is run up to the Wall of Fire and take that damage because there's a chance I can dispel the wall, which might be beneficial for us right now. Whereas just like Force Cage is just like, it's just hanging out there, and its whole deal is no one can break it.
Like that's the point of Force Cage.
So the ability to just punch it and make it go away, theoretically on a single dice roll, is like, I don't know, pretty powerful.
Yeah. And flavor-wise, I don't know if I agree with some of these quote-unquote wall spells that aren't really walls, because it's like, well, there isn't like a Wall of Fire. There isn't anything to punch.
The fire.
What do you? No, but you can't. That's not a thing
You're a
to punch.
firefighter.
Fire is a chemical reaction. It is not a thing.
The fire itself is your foe.
And things like Gravity Wall, where it's like, no, it's just like a force is happening upwards, or
I guess
whatever
the
direction.
idea is what you're hitting is the spell, right?
Is the spell,
because the spell is causing it. So theoretically, the spell exists in the world. Because if you cast Dispel Magic on it or whatever, I guess that's not how that works.
I feel like, especially, and it's like not just like I know that there's a check you have to make, but I feel like there needs to be a writer in this of like only at certain levels can you break certain levels of spell.
Yeah,
like
I
think we should get rid of the check and just have it be at level 3 you can break third level spells with this, and at level 5 you can break 5th level spells with this, or something like that. Or
I think
or
it
not,
might be interesting
or like
to say,
or the other way around, But like to have a level 6 character just punch their way out of a force cage, that's not going to be good for anybody.
I think it might be interesting to say something like you have to succeed on a number of checks equal to the spell's level. Like,
Interesting.
So you have to keep hitting it over,
You
and then it starts
You have
shattering.
to succeed on 9 DC 19 checks in a row because it's a level 9 spell or something like that.
I mean, to break a level 9 spell with your fists, I wouldn't expect nothing less.
I mean, yeah. That man, what are the statistics on that at like 20 strength? Goodness.
I mean, is someone casting guidance on me? Is somebody, like here's all the important questions, right? Someone doing enhance ability, like how are we doing this?
Well, I mean, you'd theoretically be raging, so you just have that's the other thing. You have advantage on the check because you're raging, because it's a strength check.
You do have advantage, so that should be taken into account as well. Right now, pretty strongly tuned, I would say. Mm-hmm. But there's definitely room there for this to be actually like
I'm in love
really
with this flavor.
Cool concept.
We need to calm down.
But also, do we? Because it's like, this is our homebrew, baby. We can do whatever we want in the weird Dark Souls Bloodborne world of Liarna.
That's fair. There are worse spells than Force Cage out there, I suppose.
Yeah. They can steal your bow.
They can steal your bones. They can turn you into a slug that gets cared for by a robot lady. So,
yeah. The next ability, Imperious Gravity.
Also at 6th level, what's going on here?
Oh, we got so many abilities.
We used to just get ribbon abilities at level 6 and like it. Now we've got 2 different abilities.
No, that first one was the ribbon ability, you see.
That was the ribbon ability!
This one actually gives you new things. At 6th level, you increase your mastery over gravity. On each of your turns, while raging, you can use a bonus action to create one of the following effects, using your Earthbreaker save DC. The strength of these abilities and the distance they move creatures doubles at 14th level.
Well,
Yeah, that wording is wild. So, but they've taken that math into account. But it's wild they've kind of snuck that in right at the end there. All of these, once you hit 14th level...
because it's not about the following abilities. Or no, wait, it is.
No, it
wait,
is.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry, yeah, it's weirdly.
Yeah, each of these abilities has a range and a distance they will move something. And what they're saying is, you're getting this at 6th level. At 14th level, all of these will be doubled. Instead of having that be in the 14th level ability as like a rider saying, double those from that previous ability. They've included it here, which...
To be honest, Wizard of the Coast does both, and it's infuriating. Yeah. Sometimes they're like, and then at 10th level, this happens. Or sometimes it's like, and then that ability you got is slightly better. Cool,
their
have
whole
fun.
14th level ability is, that other ability is better now. And it's like, well, you could have included that in the previous ability and given me a real ability here. Mm-hmm. All right, so we got three abilities. Attractive Field, Repulsive Field, and Stomp.
Everyone's acknowledging the attractiveness and sexiness of barbarians. I appreciate
the attractiveness field. Yeah, it's a charisma check. Attractive Field. You unleash a gravitational wave. Each creature in a 15-foot cone originating from you must succeed on a strength saving throw or be pulled up to 10 feet towards you. And remember, at 14th level, that doubles to 30-foot cone and 20 feet towards you.
Oh, and these are his bonus actions. Okay.
Yeah, and this is a bonus action. So this doesn't replace the previous, you can do one of these on a turn. You still get those, and then you can also do one of these on the turn. So it's additional, not... Now so you have a bigger selection.
Summon a guy to you and punch him 10 feet away.
Yeah. Now
you can yo-yo a man.
That's how we're playing, yeah.
He just kept yoing.
The yo master kept yoing. Repulsive Field. This is, I was going to say, this is your field, though, and then I felt so bad. I couldn't say it, because I love you, because you're my good friend.
I appreciate that. I love you, too.
Repulsive Field.
I'm going to throw you out the window when we're done with this.
I'm in danger. Repulsive Field. You condense a bubble of gravity around yourself. The next time a creature would hit you with a melee attack, the bubble bursts in a roaring explosion. Each creature within 10 feet of you must succeed on a strength saving throw or be pushed up to 10 feet away from you. If this pushes the attacker beyond its reach of view, the attack misses. If the bubble doesn't burst by the start of your next turn, it harmlessly dissipates. So this is a way to essentially like cast shield on yourself, like to negate an attack against you.
The visualness of a bubble was throwing me off until I realized it's like, oh, it's because it's Elden Ring and they're doing the little like charge up burst attack thing they're talking about.
You do the drinky where you have the orb around the purple.
Where you get the orb and then it explodes and it's like, but I was like, why is it a bubble? What's going on? Oh, because it's trying to just be this. Okay, that makes more sense.
Because bubbles are the manliest of shapes.
Are the manliest shape.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to bring it up and then on between then and your next turn. If someone would
and then
hit
it triggers
you,
if someone would attack you.
Yeah, if they would hit you, it pushes them away from you, and if they don't have long enough reach, or if
but it also pushes everyone around you away.
Oh yeah. No, it hits everybody.
Interesting.
And then yet again, remember those get doubled at 14th level to each creature within 20 feet gets pushed up to 20 feet away from you.
Good lord.
Yeah, which is a lot. And finally, stomp. Insert music made by trash cans here. You stomp the ground, causing a destructive quake in a 10-foot long, 5-foot wide line on the ground originating from you. Each creature in the area must succeed on a dexterity saving throw, or take 1d4 bludgeoning damage and have disadvantage on its next strength saving throw before the start of your next turn as it is thrown off balance. Additionally, the ground in that area becomes difficult terrain until cleared. Each 5-foot square portion of the area requires at least 1 minute to clear by hand.
Oh boy.
You're literally over here stomping and breaking the ground.
They always sound so tedious when spells and abilities when they say that. It's like, why would I do that? Leave me alone. Like, the ground's just broken now, whatever.
We're never coming back here again. But this is you create sort of almost like a fissure in the ground, and then they have to succeed on their dex save or else take a little bit of damage, but really it's nice for giving them disadvantage on their strength saves, which you can then trigger by doing other stuff to them, like your punching abilities and whatnot. So
okay. Yeah, I was going to say, like, the 1d4 bludgeoning seems really weak, but I think that's just like a little caveat added onto the thing that is you are giving something disadvantage on a strength saving throw, which I think is obviously the more important. It's basically, I mean, I think like even as a use of your bonus action, maybe we can crank that up a little bit or even treat it as its own, because even cantrips like Vicious Mockery scale up in power as you level up. And, at 6th level, 1d4 damage, and especially as you level up higher, that might as well not even be there. If the ability isn't for doing damage, then don't bother doing damage with
this
it.
Is notably the only one that doesn't move them. So it's just the range doubles at 14th level, but then nothing else about it doubles. Maybe
I guess it is an area of effect spell, or of ability, because it does 1d4 bludgeoning, but still that's it's like if people aren't buying. Yeah, if people aren't taking like high level ranger spells because they do low damage in a wide area, I don't know, other than just setting up like a specific strength based spell or a punch combo when I would be doing this.
Yeah, why I wouldn't do just like the attractive field or something where I can just pull them in and give them a bunch of punches. Unyielding. Beginning at 10th level, your unarmed strikes deal double damage to structures, and you ignore difficult terrain.
Nice.
In addition, your crushing power seeps into all aspects of your life. You can add...
My marriage got crushed.
Every aspect. You can now add your constitution
modifier. My
family
is in crumbles.
My child is flat now. You can now add your constitution modifier to any strength check or intimidation check you make.
Okay. Now that's a ribbon ability.
Well,
I do like that.
Adding it to your strength checks, and then remember that you can pass strength checks to dispel magical walls.
That's true.
Now
you are becoming one. You are homogenizing yourself.
Constitution and strength are now the same ability for you.
I don't mind that, especially in like post Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, where they explicitly said, like, yes, you can make intimidation checks with strength or other abilities, and stuff like that.
This gives you kind of carte blanche to do it.
This actually gives you, like, mechanical permission to do it, and also, like, if you are doing a strength check, that's your highest stat, and then you're using your second highest stat to bolster it. So that's you will be scary. That's
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
And the final ability here, the one that ties it all together, World Breaker. Once you reach 14th level, your blows can level the world. And then it's just period.
Okay.
That's the end.
That's it. Like, you can just
Punch the earth.
punch the earth, everyone dies.
Once on each of your turns, while you are raging, when you make a melee attack,
All right.
you can fracture the world. On a hit, the target takes an extra 3d12 bludgeoning damage and is pushed up to 30 feet away from you. In addition,
Okay.
hit or miss, the area in a 90-foot cone in front of you breaks, as per the Earthquake spell.
Okay.
Save DC equals your Earthbreaker save DC, although the spell only lasts until the start of your next turn. Doesn't require
Unless you hit a fault line, then it keeps going.
then you're screwed. To the start of your next turn. Doesn't require concentration and can create only 1d4 fissures in the area. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your strength modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a short or long rest.
So instead of a point, a point and click area of effect like Fireball, this turns Earthquake into a non-concentration one trigger 90-foot cone instead.
Correct.
And so as a result of the smaller area, you have less fissures that can come.
But the fissures still happen. People will still fall into them.
Mm-hmm.
It still affects buildings if it hits buildings. The rest of that, they have to make dexterity saving throws or be knocked prone. They have to make con saving throws or else they lose concentration. That all still happens.
And you can only do that at this point in the game 5 times per, oh God, short or long rest? Oh God.
Yeah.
Short rest might be a bit much for this.
It's a lot.
I do like this, and I do like that it's a limited use, but it's also enough that you feel like you can just do it whenever you want.
Like at least probably once per combat. It's gonna go
that was
up.
always the problem with like earlier design points in 5th edition, where it's like, oh, I have this really cool ability that I can do once per long rest, so I'm never going to use it because I will keep saving it, and then the big fight will have happened and I didn't use it, so I'm not going to use it, But with this, that it has multiple uses, makes me feel more comfortable blowing it up. I think short rest might once again be a little overcooked.
Let them cook. Let them overcook.
No. I like my meat raw.
Let them overcook.
But I freaking love this ability. This is so cool.
Wouldn't this, just in general, kind of zooming out at this character, isn't this a great character fantasy to play?
This is such a great feel and a vibe.
You're just walking in, doing the Henry Cavill arm reload, and just punching dudes like 20 feet away from you, and then you pull them all in with gravity, and then you stomp the ground to earthquake. Like, it's a great vibe.
It's very fun. It's a lot of combat control. And honestly, like a good combat control Barbarian, like area effect Barbarian is what I think we've been missing. I think some of the abilities are a little overtuned, but
it's a little hot coming out of the oven.
But also it's like it's very hyper focused, it's very hyper specialized, so maybe that's not such a bad thing. That some of them are overtuned, because it's like you have one job. It's stupid, but you're gonna do it. You're gonna punch that guy until the building falls down, and you're not going to stop punching.
Yeah.
I do love like the subtle mage hate in the earthquake ability, because of like anybody concentrating on a spell, and this is just in earthquake, but the fact that they included specifically earthquake in this,
knocking people out of concentration.
That it's like, no, you do have a way to truly fight casters, because that's always the problem with barbarians, is that like they don't have really good mental stats, and so they are often outshone / outmaneuvered by enemy casters. Like the classic scenario that I've seen multiple times is when, oh yeah, the barbarian who has no wisdom save sure got his brain taken over by that vampire, and now he's killing you faster than the vampire ever could have. But I love this like subtle, like you have a way to mass produce a huge concentration check on multiple spellcasters at once, and that's very potent for barbarians. It's very useful and very cool.
I mean, and it kind of ties into the being able to punch through magical barriers as this, slight under theme of you have things to do against casters that you can't pull out.
And you hate them.
And you hate
and
you
thus
all,
your rages.
You hate them so much. That's the Earthbreaker. I thought it was so flavorful. I'm glad you picked it. But the thing is, there's also so many interesting subclasses in Steinhardt's guide. I highly recommend anybody who hasn't checked it out yet to go check out the Kickstarter. They have the digital content already available, so if you hop in now, I think you can still get the PDF. I don't know if it's too late to get the physical book or not, but it's really interesting, really well made, and there's so much incredible art that they got commissioned for the book.
Yeah, like all this art looks like custom made.
Oh, it is. It's all completely custom art that they had commissioned by a group of artists. They have like a whole wall of text of all of the interior illustrators that worked on the project. It's obviously been a passion project. A lot of love has gone into it. There's so many interesting things that we could talk about in the rules in future episodes if people still find that they want to hear more about this. There's so many other interesting subclasses. The Blood Archer fighter, the Lunar Warden Ranger, the Scion of Madness Sorcerer. There's the Pact of the Trigger Warlock. Oh yeah, we got warlocks with guns.
We got gunlock.
Yeah, we got gun warlocks. I mean, there's also outside of subclasses, there's so many interesting. They have a bunch of homebrewed monsters, feats, backgrounds. They have an entire system called Eldritch Moons, where there's every night you roll for what moon hangs in the sky over the city that night.
It's messing with folks.
And they each have some sort of different effect. It's a great piece of content, folks. Really highly recommend it. Please go check them out if you enjoyed our coverage of it. We're not getting sponsored by them. I just like it. But I think that's going to do it for us this episode, listeners. If you enjoyed the Path of the Earthbreaker, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think it's overtuned, a little hot out of the oven? Or do you think this is where the Player's Handbook Barbarian should be at, power level-wise? Maybe we need to bump that up, famously underpowered Barbarian class in D&D. No one ever wants to play them. They're too...
Well, they're very much like
I knew that would trigger something deep within
Shut your
Onon's
mouth.
brain.
Shut your mouth. They're very much like the Warlock in that they are very front-loaded. Unlike the Warlock, however, their abilities taper off very quickly after 8th level. So, like, early Barbarians are on par, if not better than any other martial class. But, like, the minute we start getting your critical damage is increased by 1 abilities, it's like, oh, so I have overall increased 0.5% in the amount of damage I can do. Neat.
Yeah.
It starts tapering off when they're like, yes, this is the non-ribbon ability we're giving you, is nothing else you can do, and you just do slightly more crit damage sometimes.
If you've got Barbarian subclasses that you've designed or interesting homebrew that you've found that you use at your table, please send it to us at thecopperfoxinn@gmail.com or on social media at thecopperfoxinn. Or obviously you can comment it down below, and while you're down there, click the like button on the video and subscribe and do this stuff. But come on. Honestly, at this point, with our upload schedule, it just makes sense to subscribe and hit the bell because you never know.
Miss this good stuff.
You never know when it's going to come out. Could be tomorrow. Could be 7 months from now. So if you're not subscribed,
it could be yesterday.
If you're not subscribed, you'll miss it.
We could time paradox and release a video yesterday.
Simultaneously release all of our future videos on one day. We haven't even recorded them yet, but we released them already. Thanks for listening, travelers. And until next time, keep on adventuring.
Bye.